what have been some of your key observations on the recently unveiled budget in terms of women's protections? Because we can't be expecting women to go into parliament or for women to contest elections when they're in hunger, when their families are in hunger. So economic stability, economic empowerment is a cornerstone of gender equality. Speak to us about how disproportionately women are being impacted.
I think this is a sort of long-term issue, right? It has always been the case that women are disadvantaged when talking about representation and talking about policies and talking about laws in the country. So I think as part of the collective, which really started around the economic crisis happening in Sri Lanka, April 2022, key reason, sort of motivation for even coming together was to raise issues that women were facing. The policy decisions that were being spoken about, that were being implemented, really did not reach women and were excluding women's experience. So that has really been the call from the collective to ensure that women, who are also a very large part of the informal labor force in this country, who are disproportionately affected when it comes to the austerity measures that have been imposed, particularly the IMF-driven economic changes, policy decisions that have come into the country. So for example, with all of these burdens, women are not doubly but triply really struggling through, and we really need to center that in government policy, in budgets, in all of these things. So we would be looking for that commitment, which is not an easy commitment to make. For example, this time's budget, we saw also nutrition for pregnant mothers reduced from 10 billion to 7.5 billion. We saw Triposha 9 billion to 5 billion. So that adds a hardship on women. And so we are saying really as part of the collective's work that there needs to be this radical change in terms of the country's direction, in terms of debt, in terms of economic policy, in terms of how you engage women and respond to women in the workforce as well. We're talking about plantation workers, we're talking about workers in the free trade zones, all of them who really need the support to ensure that their contributions are meaningful, and they are actually contributing so much right now without getting that return, without being able to build their lives. Even with the 2023 Employment Provident Fund, the way in which it was, the domestic debt restructuring was used to reduce the future savings that would have been earned, again, women being affected by that. So I think it's not about also cherry picking these policies. It's about looking at that radical change and thinking about women as part of Sri Lanka's economic policies. It's not about women related policies. It's good for the country when you treat your women in the country well.